The heiress who played him at his own game. Part 1, The Calculated Deception. The Glamorous Trap. The champagne bubbles sparkled under the crystal chandeliers of the Metropolitan Grand Hotel. Natalia Monroe stood at the edge of the charity gala, her emerald dress catching the light with every breath. She looked like she belonged here, among the wealthy, the powerful, the untouchable. And she did belong. Her family's name opened doors across 3 continents. But tonight, she wasn't here for charity. She was here for revenge. Across the ballroom, Derek Ashford held court with a circle of admirers. Tech billionaire. Self-made success story. 32 years old with a fortune that grew by millions each day. His smile was perfect. His suit was custom. His confidence filled the room like expensive cologne. Natalia had studied him for 6 months. She knew his habits, his weaknesses, his patterns. She knew he collected beautiful things, cars, watches, art, and women. Especially women. He dated them for 3 months, used their connections, then moved on. Always polite. Always generous with the breakup gift. Never cruel enough to create enemies. Almost never. "You're staring," her best friend Melissa whispered beside her. "Subtle." "I'm observing," Natalia corrected, taking a small sip of champagne. "There's a difference. He destroyed your father's company. Everyone knows that. What are you planning?" Natalia's smile was cold. "I'm planning to give him exactly what he deserves." 3 years ago, Derek had promised partnership with Monroe Industries. Her father had trusted him, shared proprietary technology, opened their systems for integration. Then Derek had stolen everything, the designs, the patents, the client list. By the time the lawyers finished, Monroe Industries was bankrupt. Her father had a heart attack 2 months later. He survived, but the man who came home from the hospital was broken. Derek Ashford had taken everything from her family. Now Natalia would take everything from him. Natalia Monroe, a smooth voice said behind her. "I've been hoping to meet you." She turned slowly, letting surprise register on her face. Derek Ashford stood there, 2 glasses of champagne in his hands. Up close, he was even more attractive than his photos suggested. Dark hair perfectly styled. Gray eyes that seemed to see through everything. A smile that had probably melted 1,000 hearts. Not hers. Her heart was ice. "Mr. Ashford," she said, accepting the champagne he offered. "I didn't realize I was on your radar." "Beautiful women are always on my radar," he replied smoothly. "Especially ones who run successful art galleries. Your exhibition last month was extraordinary." So he'd done his research too. Good. This would be easier if he thought he was hunting her. "You attended?" Natalia asked, adding just the right amount of pleasure to her voice. "I bought 3 pieces. The sculpture by Ramon de Soto especially caught my eye." "You have excellent taste." "Taste is everything in my world, Mr. Ashford." "Derek, please." He moved closer, lowering his voice. "And I think taste is everything in every world. The right wine. The right art. The right company." His eyes held hers. "The right partner." Natalia felt Melissa tense beside her. But Natalia just smiled. "Partner in what sense?" "Every sense." Derek's confidence was absolute. "I'm launching a new cultural initiative. Tech and art collaboration. I need someone who understands both worlds. Someone with your family name, your connections, your vision." There it was. The hook. He wanted to use her connections, just like he'd used her father's trust. "That sounds fascinating," Natalia said, her voice warm. "But my family has had unfortunate experiences with tech partnerships." Derek's expression shifted to sympathy. Perfect, practiced sympathy. "Monroe Industries. I heard about that. I'm sorry. Bad business dealings can destroy good companies." He'd destroyed them. He was standing there pretending he hadn't destroyed them. Natalia took a breath, channeling genuine pain into her voice. It nearly destroyed my father. We lost everything. Not everything, Derek said gently. You still have your gallery. Your reputation. Your future. He paused. And I'm not like whoever hurt your family. I build partnerships that benefit everyone. Let me prove that to you. A deal wrapped in velvet. 2 weeks later, Natalia sat in Derek's penthouse office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Everything was glass and steel and modern perfection. Like Derek himself, beautiful and cold. The Art Tech initiative will revolutionize how people experience culture, Derek explained, pulling up presentations on multiple screens. Virtual galleries. AI-curated collections. Blockchain authentication for digital art. But I need a face for this that the art world trusts. Someone who bridges old money and new innovation. And you think I'm that person? Natalia asked. I know you are. Derek leaned forward. 6-month contract. You'll be the creative director. Attend events with me. Help curate the collection. Introduce me to collectors and gallery owners. In exchange, you get equity in the initiative, a substantial salary, and connections that will expand your gallery internationally. It was a good offer. Too good. That's how he worked, offering deals that seemed perfect until the trap closed. What's the catch? Natalia asked. Derek smiled. Smart woman. The catch is that we need to sell this as more than business. The media loves a story. Tech billionaire and art world heiress. Power couple. We'd need to appear as romantically involved. There it was. The real trap. You want a fake relationship, Natalia said flatly. I want a partnership that looks authentic to the public. What it is privately is between us. Derek's eyes held hers. Think of it as performance art. You're good at understanding art, aren't you? Natalia pretended to consider. Inside, she was celebrating. He'd just invited her into his life, given her access to his world, offered her the perfect position to discover all his secrets. 6 months, she said finally. Strict professional boundaries in private. And I want creative control over the art selections. Deal. Derek extended his hand. Natalia shook it, feeling the warmth of his skin, the strength of his grip. For a moment, their eyes locked. Something flickered in his gaze, genuine interest, maybe attraction. Good. Let him feel attracted. It would make him careless. The perfect performance. The first month was exhausting. Natalia attended 5 events each week with Derek. Galas, gallery openings, tech conferences, charity auctions. They held hands for cameras. He kept his arm around her waist. She laughed at his jokes. They played the perfect couple. The media loved it. Tech titan finds love in the art world. Derek Ashford's mystery romance. Power couple alert, when Silicon Valley meets high culture. In private, Derek was surprisingly easy to work with. He listened to her ideas. He gave her genuine control over art selections. He never crossed the professional boundaries they'd established. Sometimes Natalia caught him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. But she stayed focused on her mission. She copied files from his computer when he left her alone in his office. She recorded conversations at dinners where he discussed business strategies. She documented every meeting, every contact, every deal. Derek Ashford had built his empire on stealing from others. Natalia would prove it. You're getting close to him, Melissa warned one evening as Natalia prepared for another event. I see how you look at him now. I look at him like someone who's playing a role, Natalia replied, fastening her diamond earrings. No. You look at him like someone who's forgetting why she started this. Natalia met her friend's eyes in the mirror. I will never forget what he did to my family. But that night, something changed. They attended a small gallery opening, intimate, understated, not a media event. Derek seemed more relaxed than usual. He talked about art with genuine interest, asked questions that showed real curiosity. When they stood before a painting of a father and daughter, he was quiet for a long moment. My father died when I was 12, he said softly. We never had time together. He worked constantly, building his construction company from nothing. Then one day, heart attack. Gone. I barely knew him. Natalia felt something crack in her chest. I'm sorry. It's why I work the way I do. Why I build constantly. I keep thinking if I achieve enough, create enough, it'll somehow justify his sacrifice. Derek looked at her. Does that sound crazy? No, Natalia said quietly. It sounds human. For a moment, she saw past the perfect exterior. She saw a boy who'd lost his father. A man driven by grief and the need to prove something to a ghost. Then she remembered her own father, broken and defeated. And she hardened her heart again. Cracks in the foundation. Month 2 brought deeper access. Derek invited Natalia to board meetings. He asked her opinion on acquisitions. He introduced her to his inner circle, the lawyers, the accountants, the advisors who knew where all the bodies were buried. And Natalia listened. She learned. She discovered that Derek had a pattern. He'd approach struggling companies, offer partnership, gain access to their systems and data, then back out at the last minute. The companies would collapse. Derek would buy their assets for pennies. Perfectly legal. Completely ruthless. He'd done it 17 times in 8 years. Monroe Industries had been number 11. Natalia felt sick as she reviewed the documents she'd copied. Her father's desperate emails. Derek's smooth replies. The moment when Derek's lawyers had found irreconcilable differences and terminated the partnership, 1 week after gaining complete access to Monroe's proprietary designs. 3 months later, Derek had launched his own version of those designs. The patents were different enough to avoid legal issues. Similar enough that anyone in the industry knew what had happened. Find anything interesting? Derek's voice made her jump. Natalia closed her laptop quickly. They were in his penthouse, supposedly reviewing art proposals. She'd thought he was on a phone call in his office. Just competitor research, she said smoothly. Understanding the market landscape. Derek sat beside her on the couch. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. You're very dedicated. Most people I work with clock out at 6. You're here at 11 at night, reading market reports. I take our partnership seriously. Our partnership. Derek's voice was thoughtful. Is that all this is to you? Natalia's heart raced. What else would it be? I don't know. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was gentle. Lately, it started feeling like more than performance art. This was dangerous. She couldn't let him get close. But she also couldn't break character. Derek, she started. I know this started as a business arrangement, he continued. But I enjoy your company. Your intelligence. The way you see the world. I find myself thinking about you when you're not around. Natalia's breath caught. His eyes were sincere. His voice was honest. Either he was an incredible actor, or he was telling the truth. We agreed on boundaries, she said softly. We did. And I'll respect that. Derek stood. But I wanted you to know. In case you were feeling the same thing. He walked to his office, leaving Natalia alone with her racing heart. The first warning signs. The next morning, Natalia received an email from an unknown address. You're playing a dangerous game with a dangerous man. Derek Ashford destroys everyone he touches. I should know. I was engaged to him. Meet me if you want the truth. S. Natalia stared at the message. Derek had been engaged? He'd never mentioned that. She wrote back, when and where? The response came immediately, Café Noir. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Come alone. Natalia arrived early, choosing a corner table where she could watch the door. At exactly 2 o'clock, a woman walked in. Mid-30s, elegant, with the kind of refined beauty that came from good genes and better plastic surgery. She wore dark sunglasses despite being indoors. Natalia Monroe? The woman asked, sitting down without waiting for an answer. And you are? Sophia Winters. She removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were hard. I was engaged to Derek Ashford 3 years ago. Until I discovered what kind of man he really is. 3 years ago. Right around the time Derek had destroyed Monroe Industries. What happened? Natalia asked. Sophia ordered coffee first, taking her time. When she spoke, her voice was cold. Derek is a collector. He sees something he wants, a company, a technology, a woman, and he takes it. He made me believe he loved me. He met my father, who runs a pharmaceutical company. He asked questions about our research, our development pipeline. I thought he was just interested in my life. He wasn't, Natalia guessed. 6 months after we got engaged, Derek tried to acquire my father's company. Hostile takeover. He'd used everything I'd told him, confidential information, family secrets, weak points in our business. He nearly succeeded. Natalia felt cold. What stopped him? I did. I went public with everything. Our relationship, his tactics, all of it. The scandal made investors nervous. The acquisition failed. Sophia's smile was bitter. But it cost me everything. My family never forgave me for trusting him. The engagement ended. I was humiliated publicly. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been watching you. I see the same pattern. The whirlwind romance. The public displays. The way he's integrating you into his business world. Sophia leaned forward. You're not his girlfriend, Natalia. You're his next acquisition target. Whatever connections you have, whatever access you can provide, that's what he wants. And when he's taken everything useful, he'll discard you like yesterday's stock price. Natalia sat back, processing. This matched everything she'd learned about Derek's methods. But there was one thing Sophia didn't know. What if I'm not the victim? Natalia said quietly. What if I'm playing him the same way he's playing me? Sophia's eyes widened. Are you? He destroyed my father's company 3 years ago. Monroe Industries. He left my family in ruins. Natalia's voice was steel. I'm not falling for Derek Ashford. I'm gathering evidence to destroy him. For a moment, Sophia just stared. Then she laughed, a sharp, surprised sound. Oh, you're good. You're very good. Does he suspect? I don't think so. He thinks I'm falling for him. Are you? The question hit harder than Natalia expected. No, she said firmly. Never. But as she said it, she remembered Derek's hand in her hair. His honest voice saying he thought about her. The way he'd looked at that painting of a father and daughter. Sophia must have seen something in her expression. Be careful, Natalia. The most dangerous thing about Derek Ashford isn't that he's a manipulator. It's that he's a very convincing one. Even when you know what he is, part of you will want to believe he's changed. That you're different. That he really cares. I won't fall for it. Everyone says that. Sophia gathered her things. I have files. Documents from when I was investigating him during our engagement. Evidence of his other takeovers, his methods. I'll send them to you. Use them wisely. Thank you. Sophia paused at the door. When you destroy him, make it hurt. Make it public. Make him feel what we felt. Then she was gone. Natalia sat alone in the cafe, her coffee growing cold. She thought about Derek's smile. His gentleness when he talked about his father. The way he'd respected her boundaries even while admitting he wanted more. Was it all an act? Or was there something real beneath the performance? It didn't matter, she told herself. Even if part of Derek was genuine, that didn't change what he'd done. He'd destroyed her family. He'd destroyed Sophia's family. He'd destroyed 17 companies and countless lives. 1 month from now, Natalia would have everything she needed. Documents, recordings, witness statements. She would destroy Derek Ashford's reputation, his business, his future. And if part of her had started to care about him? Well, that would be the price of revenge. Natalia finished her coffee and left the cafe. She had an event with Derek tonight. Another performance in their perfect romance. She would play her role flawlessly. Even if it was getting harder to remember which parts were performance and which parts were becoming real. Part 2, Unraveling Threads. The mask slips. Month 3 brought an unexpected complication, Derek's sister. Emma Ashford arrived without warning on a Tuesday afternoon. Natalia was in Derek's penthouse, supposedly reviewing venue options for the Art Tech Initiative launch. In reality, she was copying files from his personal computer while he attended a board meeting. The elevator opened. A woman in her 20s rushed in, designer bags spilling from her arms. Derek? Are you home? She stopped, seeing Natalia. Oh. You must be the famous girlfriend. Natalia closed the laptop carefully. Natalia Monroe. And you are? Emma. Derek's much cooler younger sister. She dropped her bags and collapsed on the couch. Please tell me you have wine. I just spent 6 hours with my mother planning a wedding I don't want to a man I'm not sure I love. Despite herself, Natalia smiled. Emma's honesty was refreshing after weeks of careful performance. The wine is in the kitchen. Help yourself. Emma returned with 2 glasses. So. Are you actually dating my brother, or is this another one of his strategic relationships? The bluntness caught Natalia off guard. What do you mean? Derek treats relationships like business deals. Terms, conditions, exit strategies. He's been doing it since Sophia. Emma took a long sip of wine. I love my brother, but I'm not blind to his faults. So which is it? Real or arrangement? Natalia considered her options. Emma clearly didn't approve of Derek's methods. She might be an ally. It started as an arrangement, Natalia admitted carefully. But it's gotten complicated. Complicated how? I'm not sure what's real anymore. Emma studied her with sharp eyes that reminded Natalia of Derek's. Join the club. That's the Derek effect. He's so good at managing perceptions that even he doesn't always know what he really feels. She paused. But I'll tell you something. He talks about you differently than he talked about the others. How? Like you surprise him. Derek hates surprises in business, but he likes them in people. You make him uncertain, and uncertainty makes him human. Emma smiled. I like you. Try not to let him ruin this, whatever this is. What if I'm the one who ruins it? Natalia said quietly. Then he probably deserves it. When Derek returned an hour later, he found them laughing over Emma's stories about his awkward teenage years. His expression was soft as he watched them together. I see you've met my favorite person, he said, kissing Emma's cheek. Your only sister, you mean, Emma corrected. And yes, Natalia is delightful. Much too good for you. Probably true, Derek agreed. His eyes met Natalia's. Thank you for entertaining her. It wasn't entertainment. It was genuine pleasure, Natalia said honestly. And it was. For an hour, she'd forgotten about revenge and deception. She'd just enjoyed Emma's company. It reminded her what normal felt like. After Emma left, Derek poured himself whiskey. I'm sorry she ambushed you. Emma has no sense of boundaries. I liked her. She liked you too. I could tell. Derek sat beside her. That's rare. Emma doesn't trust people easily. Not after, he stopped. After Sophia? Natalia prompted, watching his reaction. Derek's face hardened. She told you about that? Emma mentioned the name. Nothing more. He was quiet for a long moment. Sophia was a mistake. I thought I loved her. Turned out I loved the idea of her, the perfect partner for my image. When her father's company became an acquisition target, I pursued it. I didn't realize how much that would hurt her until it was too late. Did you use information she gave you? Natalia asked directly. Derek met her eyes. Yes. I did. It was business, but it was also betrayal. She was right to hate me. He took a drink. I've made a lot of mistakes, Natalia. Hurt people I cared about. I'm trying to be different now. Are you? Natalia's heart raced. Or are you just better at justifying it? Maybe both. Derek's honesty was unsettling. I tell myself that business is business. That if I don't make the tough calls, someone else will. But lately. He looked at her. Lately I've been wondering if winning at all costs is actually winning. This was the moment. Natalia could push, could ask about Monroe Industries, could see if he'd confess what he'd done to her family. But something held her back. Maybe cowardice. Maybe strategy. Maybe something else she didn't want to name. People can change, she said instead. If they want to. Do you think I want to? I think you're starting to question things. That's the first step. Derek reached for her hand. You make me question things. Everything I thought I understood about what matters. His thumb traced circles on her palm. The touch was gentle, intimate. Natalia felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. Derek. I know. Boundaries. Professional. He released her hand. But those boundaries are getting harder to maintain. At least for me. He stood, putting distance between them. I should let you go. You have your gallery opening tomorrow. You need to prepare. Natalia gathered her things, her mind spinning. As she reached the elevator, Derek called out, Natalia? She turned. Thank you. For being kind to Emma. For not using her to get information about me. I appreciate that. Guilt hit like a physical blow. Natalia managed a smile. Of course. In the elevator, she leaned against the wall, breathing hard. She'd been copying his files when Emma arrived. She was using everything to gather information. And Derek was thanking her for her integrity. Secrets in the shadows. Sophia's files arrived the next morning. 18 gigabytes of documents, emails, and recordings. Natalia spent the entire day reviewing them, canceling her gallery appointments, ignoring phone calls. The evidence was damning. Derek had a clear pattern: identify struggling companies with valuable assets, offer partnership, extract information, then trigger collapse through coordinated withdrawal of support. He'd refined the method to an art form. But the files also showed something else. In the past year, Derek's methods had changed. He'd funded 3 startups without demanding controlling interest. He'd helped a struggling tech company restructure instead of acquiring it. He'd passed on acquisition opportunities that would have been profitable but would have destroyed jobs. It was like watching someone gradually wake up from being a monster. Natalia's phone rang. Derek's name on the screen. I know you're preparing for tomorrow, he said. But I wanted to ask something. Can I bring Emma to your gallery opening? She's having a rough time with the wedding planning. I think it would help to see your work. Of course. I'd love to have her there. Thank you. And Natalia? His voice softened. I'm proud of you. This exhibition is extraordinary. You've built something real with your gallery. Something that matters. After they hung up, Natalia stared at her laptop screen. At the evidence of Derek's crimes. At proof of the man who destroyed her family. Who was she supposed to destroy now? The monster in these files? Or the man who was proud of her gallery opening? The exhibition the next night was Natalia's triumph. Her gallery showcased emerging artists from underrepresented communities. Every piece told a story of struggle and resilience. The art world had turned out in force, critics, collectors, curators. And Derek was there with Emma, genuinely engaged with every piece. He bought 4 paintings, not for investment, but because the stories moved him. Natalia watched him talking with a young artist about her technique, asking thoughtful questions, listening with real interest. This was the man she was supposed to destroy? You're staring again, Melissa whispered, appearing at her elbow. But this time it's different. What do you mean? Before, you looked at him like prey. Now you look at him like you can't figure out if you hate him or love him. I don't love him, Natalia said automatically. Maybe not. But you don't hate him anymore either. And that's dangerous. Later, after most guests had left, Derek found her in the back gallery. This piece, he said, standing before a painting of a phoenix rising from ashes. This is my favorite. Why? Because it's about transformation. About burning away what you were to become what you could be. He turned to her. I've been the ashes for a long time. Maybe it's time to be the phoenix. It's not that simple, Natalia said. You can't just decide to change and erase everything you've done. I know. The past doesn't disappear. People I've hurt don't suddenly forgive me. His eyes held hers. But I can choose to be different going forward. Isn't that worth something? It depends on whether the change is real or just another strategy. Derek stepped closer. How do I prove it's real? I don't know if you can. They stood there, inches apart, surrounded by art about transformation and hope. Derek reached up, cupping her face gently. I want to kiss you, he said quietly. Not for cameras. Not for appearances. Just because I want to. Natalia's heart hammered. This was the moment everything could change. She could pull away, maintain boundaries, keep her mission intact. Or she could let herself feel something real, even if it was complicated and dangerous. Derek. Tell me no, he whispered. If this isn't what you want, tell me no. But Natalia couldn't say no. She'd been lying for so long, to Derek, to herself, that the truth felt like breaking free. She kissed him. It wasn't gentle or tentative. It was months of tension and pretending and real feelings that had grown despite everything. Derek pulled her closer, his hands in her hair, and Natalia forgot about revenge. She forgot about plans and evidence and justice. She just felt. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Derek rested his forehead against hers. I'm falling in love with you, he said. I know that's probably the stupidest thing I could do. But it's true. Natalia's eyes stung. Derek. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know. But Natalia did have to say something. She had to tell him who she really was. What she'd been doing. Why she'd really agreed to this arrangement. There's something I need to tell you, she started. Derek's phone rang. He glanced at it, frowned. It's my lawyer. Emergency. I'm sorry, I have to take this. He stepped away, phone to his ear. Natalia watched his expression change from irritation to shock to anger. What do you mean there's an investigation? He said sharply. Into what? Who filed the complaint? Natalia's blood went cold. Investigation? Derek listened, his face growing darker. Securities fraud? That's insane. I've never, he stopped, listening. Sophia Winters. Of course. This is about revenge, not legitimate concerns. He paused. Fine. I'll come to the office now. Pull everything. Every file, every email, every transaction from the past 5 years. We fight this with complete transparency. He hung up, looking shaken. I have to go. There's a federal investigation into my business practices. Someone filed a complaint claiming securities fraud and corporate espionage. Who? Natalia asked, though she knew. My ex-fiancé. Sophia. Derek's laugh was bitter. She's been sitting on this for 3 years, waiting for the perfect moment. Now that I'm finally happy, finally trying to change, she decides to destroy me. Guilt crushed Natalia's chest. Sophia had those files because Natalia had told her about the evidence gathering. Had Sophia decided to strike first? Derek, I'm sorry. I know tonight was important. But I need to handle this. He kissed her forehead quickly. I'll call you tomorrow. We'll figure this out. He left, Emma hurrying after him with worry on her face. Natalia stood alone in her gallery, surrounded by art about transformation, and realized she'd just kissed the man she was betraying. And now, because of her alliance with Sophia, Derek was facing federal investigation. She'd wanted revenge. She'd wanted justice. But as she touched her lips, still feeling Derek's kiss, she realized she'd never considered the possibility that the person she'd hurt most might be herself. A dangerous dance. The next 3 weeks were chaos. The federal investigation made headlines. Billionaire faces securities fraud charges. Tech titan's empire under scrutiny. Derek Ashford, genius or con artist? Derek pulled away from everything, from media, from social events, from Natalia. His lawyer advised him to minimize public appearances. The Art Tech initiative was put on hold. Their carefully constructed relationship narrative crumbled. Natalia used the time to think. She had everything she needed to destroy Derek, Sophia's files plus her own documentation. But every time she opened her laptop to compile the evidence, she remembered his kiss. His confession that he was falling in love with her. The way he'd looked at her gallery art with genuine appreciation. Emma called her one afternoon. He's not sleeping. Barely eating. This investigation is destroying him. Her voice cracked. I know you two haven't been in touch, but Derek needs you. He's too proud to ask, but I'm asking for him. Please. Emma, there are things you don't know. I know you went into this relationship as some kind of business arrangement. Derek told me. He also told me that it became real for him. That you became real. Emma paused. Did it become real for you? Natalia closed her eyes. Yes. Then be there for him. Please. That evening, Natalia went to Derek's penthouse. He answered the door looking exhausted. His usual perfect appearance was gone, stubble on his jaw, shirt wrinkled, eyes hollow. Natalia. What are you doing here? Emma called. She's worried. Emma should mind her business. But there was no heat in his words. He stepped aside to let her in. The penthouse was a disaster. Files everywhere, empty coffee cups, barely controlled chaos. Derek had always been so controlled, so perfect. Seeing him like this was jarring. How bad is it? Natalia asked gently. Bad. They're looking at every deal I've made in 5 years. Every acquisition, every partnership. They're interviewing people I've worked with, companies I've acquired. He sank onto the couch. Some of those deals were aggressive. Some might have crossed ethical lines. I don't know anymore. What does your lawyer say? That if we're completely transparent, we'll probably be fine. Most of what I did was technically legal. Ruthless, but legal. Derek looked up at her. But it's going to destroy my reputation. Every person I ever outmaneuvered will come forward now. All the mistakes, all the people I hurt, it's all going to become public. Natalia sat beside him. Maybe that's what you need. To face what you've done. To make it right where you can. How do I make it right? Those companies are gone. Those people's lives were disrupted. I can't undo that. No. But you can acknowledge it. You can change how you operate going forward. You can use your resources to help instead of harm. She took his hand. You told me you wanted to be different. This is your chance. Derek's fingers tightened on hers. Why are you here, Natalia? Why do you care what happens to me? This was the moment. She should tell him everything. About Monroe Industries, about her real reasons for accepting his proposal, about the evidence she'd been gathering. But looking at his exhausted face, his vulnerable eyes, she couldn't do it. Not now. Not when he was already being destroyed by investigation and public scrutiny. Because despite everything, I care about you, she said. It was true. She'd tried so hard not to care, but somewhere along the way, the act had become real. Derek pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not, Natalia agreed softly. But we rarely get what we deserve. We get what we choose. They stayed like that for a long time. Eventually, Natalia ordered food, forced Derek to eat, helped him organize files. They worked side by side until midnight, and for those hours, it felt like they were genuinely partners. As Natalia prepared to leave, Derek caught her hand. Thank you. For not running when things got difficult. For seeing me at my worst and staying anyway. Everyone deserves someone who stays, Natalia said. But as she rode the elevator down, guilt crushed her. Derek thought she'd stayed out of loyalty and care. He didn't know she'd helped trigger this investigation. He didn't know she had files that could make everything worse. And he definitely didn't know who she really was. The truth surfaces. The truth came out in the worst possible way. Natalia was at her gallery when Melissa rushed in, tablet in hand. You need to see this. Now. The article was on Tech Finance Insider, one of the industry's most respected publications. The secret connection, how Derek Ashford's girlfriend's father was his early victim. Natalia's heart stopped. The article detailed everything. Monroe Industries' collapse. Derek's role in the destruction. The proprietary technology he'd stolen. And the connection to Natalia Monroe. Continue. 1400 hours. Daughter of the company's founder, now conveniently dating the man who destroyed her family. The article speculated, was this revenge? A long con? Or had Natalia really fallen for her father's destroyer? The comments section was brutal. She's either the smartest woman alive or the stupidest. This is the best revenge story I've ever seen. Plot twist, they're perfect for each other, both manipulators. How did they find out? Natalia whispered. Does it matter? Melissa's voice was gentle. It's out. Derek's going to know within the hour. What are you going to do? Natalia's phone rang. Derek's name. Her hand shook as she answered. Tell me it's not true. His voice was cold, completely unlike the vulnerable man from last night. Tell me you're not Richard Monroe's daughter. I am, Natalia said quietly. I should have told you. You should have told me? You should have told me? Derek's rage exploded through the phone. You came into my life with a fake name, a fake background, played this whole relationship to gather evidence against me. Everything was a lie. Not everything. Derek, please let me explain. Explain what? That you're exactly like Sophia? That you used me, manipulated me, made me believe. He stopped. God, I actually thought you cared. I told you I was falling in love with you. I do care. That's the problem, I started caring when I shouldn't have. Natalia's voice cracked. Yes, I came for revenge. Yes, I gathered evidence. But what I feel for you now is real. How convenient. You developed real feelings right when I became publicly vulnerable. Perfect timing for your conscience to kick in. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? I destroyed your father's company. I took everything from your family. You had every right to hate me, to want revenge. But you didn't have the right to make me fall in love with you first. The pain in his voice cut deeper than anger would have. Derek, please. Let me come over. Let me explain everything face to face. No. Stay away from me. This is over, whatever this was. He paused. I hope your revenge was worth it, Natalia. Because you destroyed the only real thing I had. He hung up. Natalia stood frozen, phone clutched in her hand. Melissa pulled her into a hug as the tears finally came. I ruined everything, Natalia sobbed. I got what I wanted, he's being investigated, his reputation is destroyed, everyone knows what he did. But I ruined everything. What do you want now? Melissa asked gently. Right now, in this moment, what do you actually want? Natalia knew the answer immediately. Him. I want him. Then fight for him. How? He'll never forgive me. Maybe not. But you can try. And you can tell the truth, the whole truth, this time. Betrayal's sharp edge. Derek refused to see her. He blocked her calls, ignored her emails, had security turn her away from his building. For a week, Natalia tried everything. Nothing worked. Then Emma showed up at her gallery. He's destroying himself, Emma said without preamble. He works 20 hours a day, won't talk to anyone, barely functions. The investigation is going badly because he's too angry to think straight. And he won't listen to anyone who tells him to slow down. He won't see me, Natalia said. I know. But I also know my brother. He doesn't hate you because you lied. He hates you because you made him hope. You made him believe he could be different, that someone could see past his mistakes and care about him anyway. Then you proved that was a lie too. It wasn't a lie. Not at the end. Then prove it. Emma held out a keycard. Penthouse access. He changed all the codes except the one I have. Use it. Ambush him if you have to. But make him listen. Natalia took the card. Why are you helping me? Because in all my life, I've never seen Derek care about someone the way he cared about you. That kind of feeling doesn't just disappear because of betrayal. It goes underground, turns into anger and hurt. But it's still there. Emma squeezed her hand. Save my brother. Please. That night, Natalia used the keycard. The penthouse was dark except for one lamp in Derek's office. He was at his desk, surrounded by documents, looking more exhausted than ever. How did you get in here? He asked without looking up. Emma gave me access. Of course she did. Traitor. But his voice was tired, not angry. You shouldn't be here. Probably not. But we need to talk. We have nothing to talk about. Natalia walked to his desk, set down a folder. Yes, we do. This is every piece of evidence I gathered against you. Documents, recordings, emails, witness statements. Everything. Derek finally looked up. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to know the truth. All of it. Natalia took a breath. I came into your life planning to destroy you. I documented everything you did, every deal, every manipulation. I allied with Sophia, gathered evidence, built a case that could have buried you. I know all this already. But you don't know that I fell in love with you anyway. Derek's expression hardened. Don't. I fell in love with the man who was kind to his sister. Who bought art because the stories moved him. Who was trying to change, even though change is terrifying and hard. Natalia's voice shook. I fell in love with you despite knowing exactly what you'd done. Despite having every reason to hate you. And that's supposed to make this better? You loved me but still planned to destroy me? No. It makes it complicated and messy and human. She pushed the folder toward him. Here. All the evidence. Do whatever you want with it. Burn it. Use it to prepare your defense. I don't care anymore. I'm done with revenge. Derek stared at the folder but didn't touch it. Why? Because revenge doesn't fix anything. It doesn't bring back my father's company. It doesn't undo the damage you did. It just creates more pain. Natalia's eyes burned. And because destroying you means destroying the person I love. I can't do that. Even if you never forgive me, I can't do that. You realize that sounds insane, right? You spent months planning my downfall. Now you're just giving up? Not giving up. Choosing differently. She moved toward the door. I loved you, Derek. I still do. That's the truth you wanted. Do with it whatever you want. Natalia, wait. She stopped, hope flaring. Derek stood, picking up the folder. For a long moment, he just looked at it. Then he walked to the fireplace and threw it in. They watched together as the paper caught fire, evidence curling into ash. I destroyed your family, Derek said quietly. I stole from your father, ruined his company, broke his spirit. And you loved me anyway? I tried not to. I really tried. But yes. That's the most messed up thing I've ever heard. Derek turned to her. And also maybe the most honest. Because I should hate you. You lied to me, manipulated me, planned to destroy everything I built. But I don't hate you. He stepped closer. I'm furious with you. Hurt by you. But I don't hate you. What does that mean? I don't know. But I think it means we're both pretty terrible at revenge. They stood in the firelight, watching the last of the evidence burn. Everything Natalia had worked for, reduced to ashes. And somehow, watching it disappear felt like freedom. I'm sorry, she said. For lying. For the deception. For making you believe in something that started as manipulation. I'm sorry too. For what I did to your family. For being the kind of person who justified destroying people's lives as just business. Derek's voice was raw. I can't undo any of it. But I want to try to make some of it right. How? I don't know yet. But maybe we could figure it out together. He paused. If you're willing to try to forgive me for destroying your family. If you're willing to try to forgive me for planning to destroy you. Derek almost smiled. This is completely insane. Completely, Natalia agreed. We've both done terrible things to each other. Yes. Any relationship built on this much deception and revenge is doomed to fail. Probably. So why does part of me still want to try? Natalia moved closer. Because we both know what it's like to be the worst version of ourselves. And we both want to be better. Maybe we can help each other do that. Derek cupped her face, his thumb tracing her cheekbone. Or maybe we'll destroy each other completely. That's also possible. This is the worst idea ever. Absolutely terrible, Natalia agreed. He kissed her then, fierce and desperate and real. And Natalia kissed him back, knowing they were both broken, both guilty, both trying to find redemption in the most complicated way possible. When they finally broke apart, Derek rested his forehead against hers. I don't know how to trust you. You don't know how to trust me. We have so much to work through. I know. This might not work. We might be too damaged. We might be. But I want to try. Do you? Natalia thought about her father, about justice, about everything she'd wanted when this started. Then she thought about Derek's vulnerability, his struggle to change, the way he looked at her like she was something precious. Yes, she said. I want to try. They had no idea if redemption was possible. If love built on the ashes of revenge could ever become something real and lasting. But standing there in the firelight, with all their secrets finally burned away, they decided to find out. Part 3, The Queen's Gambit. The Perfect Storm. The morning after Derek burned the evidence, Natalia woke to her phone exploding with notifications. 53 missed calls. Over 100 texts. Her inbox was flooded. Something had happened. She grabbed her phone, scrolling through headlines with growing horror. Derek Ashford's girlfriend releases bombshell evidence of corporate fraud. Natalia Monroe goes public with damning files against tech billionaire. Revenge or justice? Heiress exposes the man who destroyed her family. Natalia's hand shook as she clicked the first article. Someone had released everything, the documents she'd gathered, Sophia's files, recordings, emails. Everything was public. Every shady deal, every manipulation, every company Derek had destroyed. But Natalia hadn't released them. She'd burned them with Derek last night. Her phone rang. Derek's name. She answered with dread. Tell me you didn't do this, he said. His voice was cold again, all the warmth from last night gone. Tell me after everything last night, you didn't go home and release those files anyway. I didn't. Derek, I swear, I burned everything with you. I don't know how. Someone posted them from an anonymous account at 3 a.m. Detailed documents. Recordings. Files I've never even seen before. He laughed bitterly. I actually believed you last night. I actually thought. Derek, please. It wasn't me. Someone else must have, then it hit her. Sophia. She had copies of everything. She must have waited until she knew we'd reconciled and then released it all. Convenient excuse. It's the truth. Check the files. Are there documents you recognize from our research? Things only you and I would have access to? Silence. Then, no. These are older files. Things from before you started working with me. His voice changed slightly. These are Sophia's investigation files from 3 years ago. I told her I was gathering evidence against you. She must have decided to act while the investigation was already happening. Maximum damage. Natalia felt sick. Derek, I swear on everything I have, I didn't do this. Your father is quoted in one of the articles. Talking about what I did to Monroe Industries. Did you know about that? Natalia's heart sank. No. But Sophia interviewed him during her original investigation. She must have kept that interview. Your father is calling for criminal charges against me. Saying I should be in prison for what I did to his company. He has every right to feel that way. Does he know about us? About you and me? No. I haven't spoken to my family about any of this. Derek was quiet for a long moment. This is a disaster. The federal investigation just got 1,000 times worse. The media is going insane. My investors are panicking. And your father is calling for my arrest on every news channel. What can I do? Nothing. There's nothing anyone can do. Sophia timed this perfectly. He laughed bitterly. I'm destroyed. Everything I built, gone. My reputation, my business, my future, all of it. Derek. I need to go. My lawyers are here. Wait. Do you believe me? That I didn't release those files? Another pause. I want to. But right now, I don't know what I believe anymore. He hung up. Natalia sat on her bed, phone clutched in her hand, watching her world implode in real time. Social media was a frenzy. Hashtag Derek Ashford was trending. People were divided, some celebrating his downfall, others crying witch hunt. Her own name was trending too. Hashtag Natalie Monroe. Half the internet thought she was a hero. The other half thought she was as bad as Derek. Her doorbell rang. Natalia opened it to find her father standing there. Richard Monroe looked older than his 60 years. The heart attack and bankruptcy had aged him. But today, his eyes burned with vindication. "Dad. I didn't know you were coming. I saw the news. That you were involved with Derek Ashford. That you gathered evidence against him." He stepped inside, studying her. "I don't know whether to be proud or furious. I'm sorry. I should have told you." "Why didn't you?" Natalia sank onto her couch. "Because I knew you'd try to stop me. And because I wasn't sure what I was doing anymore. It started as revenge, but it became..." She couldn't finish. "It became complicated," her father finished. His voice was gentler. "You fell for him. How did you know?" "I'm your father. I know you." He sat beside her. "The question is, what now? The man who destroyed our family is finally facing consequences. This is what we wanted. Is it?" Natalia looked at him. "Did destroying him bring back your company? Does it undo your heart attack? Does it fix anything? It's justice." "No, it's revenge. And I don't think I want revenge anymore." Her father was quiet. Then he said, "Tell me about him. The real him, not the monster I built in my head." So Natalia did. She told him about Derek's complexity, his struggle to change, his vulnerability. She told him about Emma and the art gallery and the man who was trying to be better. She told him everything. When she finished, her father sighed deeply. "I wanted him to suffer the way I suffered. But hearing you talk about him..." He shook his head. "You love him." "Yes. I know that's probably the worst thing I could do." "No. It's the most human thing you could do." He took her hand. "Hate is easy, Natalia. Love after betrayal? That's hard. That takes real courage. So what do I do?" "You decide what matters more, punishing the past or building a future." He stood. "Whatever you choose, I'll support you. Even if you choose him." After he left, Natalia sat alone with her thoughts. Her phone kept buzzing with interview requests, messages from reporters, calls from people she hadn't spoken to in years. Everyone wanted her story. Everyone wanted to know if this was revenge or romance or something else entirely. She ignored all of it. Instead, she opened her laptop and started writing. Cards on the table. The article published in 3 major outlets simultaneously. Natalia had sent it to the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and TechCrunch. She'd titled it, "The Truth About Derek Ashford, My Family, and What Revenge Actually Costs." In it, she told everything. Not the sanitized version or the dramatic version, the real version. She detailed her father's company collapse. Derek's role in it. Her plan for revenge. How she'd gathered evidence and allied with Sophia. How she'd fallen in love despite everything. How they'd both tried to be better. And how someone else had weaponized her evidence to destroy both of them. The most important part came at the end. Derek Ashford did terrible things to my family and others. He should be held accountable for those actions. But accountability doesn't mean destruction. It means acknowledgement, restitution, and genuine change. In the past year, I've watched Derek try to become a different person. That doesn't erase what he did, but it matters. I released this statement because the truth is more complicated than any headline can capture. Derek is both the person who destroyed my family and the person I fell in love with. I am both a daughter seeking justice and a woman who betrayed someone she cares about. We're all more than our worst moments. We all deserve the chance to be better. I don't know what happens next. But I know that revenge, even successful revenge, doesn't heal anything. It just creates more wounds. I'm done participating in that cycle. The article went viral immediately. The response was overwhelming. Some people praised her honesty, others accused her of Stockholm Syndrome, many simply debated whether someone like Derek deserved redemption. Derek's response came 6 hours later, through his own public statement. Natalia Monroe told the truth about what I did to her family and others. Every accusation in the recent document release is factually accurate. I manipulated partnerships, stole intellectual property, and destroyed companies for profit. I justified this as aggressive business tactics, but that was a lie I told myself. What I did was wrong. Period. I can't undo the damage. But I can acknowledge it and work to make restitution where possible. I'm establishing a fund to compensate companies and individuals I harmed, using my personal assets. I'm cooperating fully with federal investigators. And I'm stepping down from active leadership of all my companies. Natalia didn't owe me forgiveness. I destroyed her family. But she gave me something more valuable than forgiveness. She gave me honest accountability. She showed me who I was and who I could become. Whether we have a future together is her decision. But I'm grateful for the chance to be better, regardless of the cost. The twin statements changed the narrative. Suddenly it wasn't a simple story of villain and hero. It was complicated, messy, human. The media didn't know what to do with two people who admitted their faults and refused to play victim or destroyer. But Sophia knew exactly what to do. The ultimate revenge. She appeared on national television 3 days later, perfectly styled, perfectly sympathetic. The interviewer treated her like a hero who'd exposed corporate fraud. "Sophia, you've been vindicated," the host said. "Derek Ashford has admitted to the manipulations you accused him of years ago. How does it feel?" "Bittersweet," Sophia replied, her expression sad. "I'm glad the truth is finally out. But I'm concerned about Natalia Monroe." "Concerned how?" "Derek Ashford is a master manipulator. He convinced her she was using him when really, he was using her. Now she's defending him publicly, claiming he's changed. It's classic abuse psychology, making the victim believe the abuser is capable of redemption." The host leaned forward. "You think Natalia is being manipulated?" "I know she is. I went through the same thing. Derek makes you believe he's vulnerable, that he's trying to be better. Then he uses that vulnerability to control you. Natalia gathered evidence against him, and somehow she ended up in love with him? That's not accidental. That's calculated." But Derek's public statement admitted his wrongdoing. Of course it did. Because Natalia gave him the perfect out. She framed him as someone seeking redemption instead of someone who should be prosecuted. She gave him a redemption arc when what he deserves is a prison sentence. Sophia looked directly at the camera. "Natalia, if you're watching this, please wake up. You're being used again. Derek isn't changing. He's just better at hiding who he really is. Don't let him destroy you the way he destroyed me." The interview ended with the host praising Sophia's brave warning. Natalia watched it in her gallery, feeling sick. Sophia had twisted everything. Made Derek sound like an abuser and Natalia like a victim too damaged to see clearly. Her phone rang. "Emma. Did you see it?" Emma asked. "Yes. She's lying. She's making this about abuse and manipulation when really it's just her revenge fantasy." "I know. But she's convincing. People will believe her."